Hey guys, how are you? I started the recording and I don't think it was going, so let's try again. Good morning. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday. This week has just flown by. Look, I want to show you today how easy it is to whip up something healthy and nutritious for the family. So come along today as I show you Pepita, Almond, Florentines. And those of you who don't know me, my name is Lisa. Mum of 4 boys, a Thermomix consultant and team leader, and I love showing you how life can be so much easier and different with a Thermomix on the bench. So preheat the oven, it's done, let's keep going. I've got some tricks to this recipe I'd like to show you as well. This is a beautiful recipe. Lines and baking trays, I'm actually going to use a muffin tray. So just being a little bit different, and it means I don't have to shape them and do all the pressing down and stuff to get that beautiful big Florentines. I'm going to do little bite ones, so they're kind of going to be more like muesli bar style things, I guess, or muesli bites. Okay, place 50 grams of raw almonds. I'm going to try and double it. Now, I've not tried to double this recipe. My kids eat a lot, so I'm going to give this a go. I'll give you some tips. So if it starts going a bit pear-shaped, I'll give you some tips so that you guys know how you can do that as well. Good morning, Karen. Lovely to have you on. Oh, so normally it says 50 grams. I'm doing 100, well, 120 because I went too heavy, but that's okay. Walnuts. We'll do that as well. Oh well, that'll make up for the too heavy on one, not heavy enough on the other. Perfect. Next, some dried cranberries. I'm just using sultanas because that tends to be what we've got. And it says 60 grams of those. For those of you who are cooking along later, I'm just going to put all the rest in. Next, insert the measuring cup into mixing bowl lid then. Now it's going to chop this all down really nicely. So it's got 8 seconds, speed 7. Let's spin that up. Good morning, Kathy. Lovely to have you on. We're just making some little Florentines this morning, but I'm making a double batch. Okay, it does say extend the time if you want, and then it says transfer to a bowl and set aside. So we've got kind of this crumbly mix in there. That's quite a lot. I'm looking forward to having a nice big amount. Oh, here we go, thermo server. This is the awesome white thermo server. You can have it for hosting a demo. You get it discounted or free if somebody's ready to buy your demo. I'm just going to use it to decant into. So they're in there. Okay, next up. Next. I love this recipe. It's actually dairy free and I'm going to make it gluten free as well. So that makes it tick 2 boxes in our world without cleaning the mixing bowl. How good are those words? Now it wants some coconut oil. And this is where I reckon if you didn't have coconut oil, you could actually use butter. I reckon there's no reason why you couldn't substitute in butter, which would give it a really nice caramelly flavour. You can see it's been cold at the moment. The coconut oil is solidified. And I've got to double this as well. So I'm wanting 80 grams. No, not quite 100. I will pull out the excess of that because I don't really want it being significantly over. It would become quite oily. Okay, rice malt syrup. So this is kind of your equivalent of something like honey. So if you don't have rice malt syrup, you could use honey. There's no reason why honey can't be put in this recipe. It's going to be a fair amount. It says 180 grams. It is the binder though, so you really can't, what's that equal? 360. You really can't take this down, okay? It's something that, it's one of those recipes you can't fiddle with that. Otherwise, you will just find that it'll be a sticky, a crumbly mess. A bit like muesli bars and Anzac biscuits. You really can't play too much with the sugar content because it just goes, it's the binder. It's the carameliness that sticks together. Okay, on with the lid. And now we've got 2 minutes for aroma speed 1. Now doing a double batch means that I actually need to extend my cook time by an extra half of the original. So in this case it was 2 minutes, so I've got to make it 3 minutes. And then that will allow it to melt down, or in the case of cooking things like curries and stuff, it'll mean that it cooks down well. So it is important to know that if you're doubling a recipe, you need to add an extra half time, half of whatever the original was, to allow for that capacity. Alternatively though, if you are halving a recipe, you don't halve the cook time, you actually 3/4 the cook time. So there you go, little tip for you there when it comes to changing recipes to be your own. Now on the screen you can see that at the moment the temperature is aiming for Varoma, but it's actually only at 50 degrees. You'll see it's 60 degrees. The little, oh you can't actually see them, let me go up a little bit. The little lights up here, there you go, they go to red. So you can see those up there have just gone to red. And Yeah, they're now getting really hot. So you can see there it's gone to 75 degrees. And it'll just keep on going up in temperature. I think I just made it go blurry on you guys. There we go. So this is a beautiful recipe. Now you don't have to have the chocolate coating if you don't want. Mine often get eaten before we get to that stage of the chocolate coating. So it's completely up to you whether that's something you do, and whether you do white chocolate or dark chocolate or milk chocolate, it is beautiful. So it's completely though optional, okay? You could even put chocolate chips in the mix if you'd like, and I think it would be yummy as well. Good morning, Kelly. Lovely to see you on today. So we are just making some beautiful little biscuits for morning tea. I am doubling the batch, and I've just given some hints and tips about how we actually cook it for longer when we've got the double batch in there, or what we do if we were halving our batch as well. So nearly done. You can see it's actually met Varoma temperature, so even having that extra quantity in there, it's actually got up fairly early to the temp. But a lot of these recipes require caramelization to bring out the flavor. Really, it's cooking down that sugar and it's bringing out more sweetness, and it's caramelizing it. So that's why we still need that extra minute. As much as it's gotten to temp, it actually needs to start bubbling. If you think of traditionally things like toffees on the stove and things like that, or even the original Anzac biscuits, you know, they come up to boil. The butter and sugar comes up to that boil and starts reducing, which infuses that stronger flavor in it. That's what we're going for here. So now I did make mention that I'm using a muffin tray instead. So what I'm going to do with this, and what's important in this recipe, is actually the press down. If you leave them up and loose, you end up with a loose, crumbly product. It does, a bit like muesli bars, need to be compressed down. I do like using the containers like this for it though, because you do have to be careful that you don't break them when they're soft, but it means you don't have to shape them and press them down. You see there's a few little complex steps towards the end where you actually shape them into circles and put them on a tray and spread them out and knock it down flat. And I'd much prefer to make slightly taller ones and in here, so it's less fiddly for me. But it is important these wait till they're cool to be eaten, or they just will be a crumbly mess. That toffee needs to set. All right. By the way, that's a silicone tray from the mix shop. So if anyone's chasing bakeware, definitely check out the mix shop. All right, rolled oats, 50 grams. Here's my rolled oats. Oh, by the way, let me just show you what's going on in there. So it's just all dissolved, and it's a big sweet smelling mess. Really? Amazing. Okay, 50 grams, or we're going for 100. Hopefully I've got enough, maybe not. Oh, I do. Excellent. All right, next up is some pepitas. Again, we want 100, although I do think I wasn't actually planning on doing a double when I started this. 2 seconds, everybody. The double was an afterthought, so I didn't actually think to grab enough out. Okay, 1 teaspoon of mixed spice. This is beautiful. Make sure you don't skimp on your mixed spice. By the way, you can make your own mixed spice in the Thermomix. There's a recipe for it. It's just beautiful. But if you didn't have mixed spice and you didn't want to make it, some cinnamon, probably half a teaspoon of cinnamon, a quarter of a teaspoon of nutmeg, probably an eighth of a teaspoon of clove, and am I missing something? I feel like there's something else I put into it. But they're the 3 key ingredients, would be cinnamon, nutmeg, and clove. A bit like your hot cross bun spice mix, right? So, and some of you guys might have that left over from hot cross buns at Easter time. Okay, I'm not using plain flour. I'm going to use some coconut flour shakes. I just want to get rid of it. There's not much left in here. I've also used gluten-free plain flour before, and it works perfectly fine. I do suspect coconut flour will change the recipe a little bit. It'll need a bit of time to suck the liquid in. I think it'll still work. I think we'll be okay. But it's not normally, just a little FYI, you normally can't just swap coconut flour for plain flour. So if you was doing a cake or something and it said, or even biscuits, like cookies, you couldn't just go, oh, it's calling for 400 grams of plain flour, I'll put 400 grams of coconut flour. That won't work. But seeing it's only 1 tablespoon, it's just being used as a thickener. It'll be fine in this case. Okay, reserve nut mixture. Just going to move that over here so I've got a bit of space to work with. I'm going to put that in. And now we put the lid on. Now this is where By the way, if you like it to be vanilla flavored, add some vanilla at this point too. It's just really yummy. But this is where you may need to change up your speeds again. So it's got 20 seconds, speed 2 on reverse. So it's not chopping that down any further. I'm going to grab my spatula. I'm just going to keep an eye on it because it may not churn the top of the bowl because it's actually doing a pretty good job. Let me show you if I can reach. Oh, there you go. Sorry, guys. Sometimes when you double a recipe, it actually doesn't mix the top of the bowl well, purely because there's too much content in there. It's not the original way the recipe was designed to be. But it actually worked out well. So there we go. So normally you'd place 2 teaspoons on a prepared baking tray. Using damp hands, flatten slightly and shape into a rough circle. Repeat with the remaining mixture, makes approximately 25. But make sure you leave enough room for things to spread. So I'm just using this. I'm going to check this is all combined. It actually probably could do with another 10 seconds. I'll just give you guys a bit of a show of that. But I might just give it a stir with the spatula instead. Make sure it's all combined. It is really sticky, a bit like you'd expect muesli bars. Actually, it would make yummy muesli bars too, actually. And then all I'm going to do is put that 2 teaspoon dob in and give it a push down. Now, because mine are slightly bigger, they're going to take a little bit longer to cook, and that's okay. I'm actually going to put the kids to work to make them all. But yeah, I can expect that this recipe normally cooks them for not very long, 12 minutes at 160. Sorry guys, let's pull that camera back. And then it would normally melt your chocolate to go on top as well. But being a bit bigger, mine are going to take about 20 minutes to cook, maybe 25. And then they do need to cool before you try and get them out of your pan, or they'll just crumble. So there you go. Give the Florentines a go. Tell me what you think. Tell me what your favourite topping is. And I'd love to know if you've actually tried this recipe before. Please let me know. I'd love to know what you've done. There's also one I saw today for salted caramel on the US. Salted caramel Florentines. And I thought, wow, they would be really yummy. They did have cream in it and sugar and a whole lot of stuff. And I went, oh, maybe not today. I don't know that I can have crazy sugar-filled kids. So I decided we'd do the traditional ones. But there you go. I hope that inspires you to give it a go. Let me know if you'd like to have a personalised demonstration to your kitchen. We can Zoom it. We can do face-to-face. There's so many different ways to help you get more out of the Thermomix or answer your questions about how Thermomix might help you in your kitchen. But otherwise, that's it from me today. Take care. Reach out if I can help you in any way with your Thermomix or helping a friend or family get a Thermomix on the bench. But take care. I'll see you this afternoon for dinner. Bye for now, guys.